Hello, Internet.
Hello, Internet.
We were supposed to be seeing The Boy tonight. We were supposed to be reviewing The Boy tonight.
And then Hazlitt Multiplex Cinemas, shout out, fucking closed without notifying anything, but showtimes were still up. Yeah.
Please send them hate mail.
Or don't. Don't actually.
Please send them hate mail.
No. I don't feel like dealing with the fallout of that.
Anyway, so instead we're going to do a throwback review. And we're going to review a movie that's not that old. And we're going to review Unfriended. Came out last year. And,
Lee has a crispy little Blu-ray that he brought over.
I did. I brought over a nice Blu-ray. And I'm going to look up who directed it because I don't know. Unfriended's a movie by Leo Gabriadze. Might be pronouncing that wrong. If I am, I'm sorry.
Just put a meat cleaver on the screen right now because you're butchering it.
Boo. And it's about a bunch of kids who were in a Skype call, and then on the anniversary of their friend's suicide, and then a ghost joins, and things get crazy. And I had seen this movie in theaters. He hadn't. So I'm going to ask you first, what did you think of it?
Pleasantly surprised, actually. It looked like it was just going to be gimmicky, but I actually gotta say I rather enjoyed it. You know, not the best movie I've ever seen in my life, but it was fun. Something I'd watch again.
I agree. Actually, I agree wholeheartedly. And I'm going I was expecting it, going in expecting to be kind of, garbage, given the things that we see in theaters nowadays.
Yeah. Although, I do have to say that I really like the Skype thing, the whole through a computer, that was cool, but I really wish the person who, did all that shit in post or whatever understood technology a little bit better.
There were a lot of things that were very strange regarding...
You have 6 people in a video call, but your download speeds are 30 kilobytes a second. No.
It's ghosts.
No, that's not ghosts. That's inconsistent.
It was the ghost.
That was weird.
It wasn't the ghost.
It was just little things like that that just add up that irked me.
Yeah, no, there were definitely it's not a great movie. It's not a great movie, but it's a good movie. It's a fun movie, and that is one thing I said when I saw it in theaters. That's one thing I still say now. It's a fun movie, and it's a fun thing that if you're at a party with a group of friends and you want to watch something, that's the kind of thing you throw on. Yeah, although I also think that it's the sort of thing that would definitely be better watched on a computer than on an actual giant TV.
Yeah.
It's more effective if you're watching it on a computer screen, since the whole film takes place on a computer screen.
And that's something actually that I found really impressive. The fact the lack of locations that they used. It really was
it's all interiors, and it's really the way it's handled. It manages to be really effective at what it does, and it's not a terrible horror movie. It managed to actually be pretty creepy at times.
There are scenes in that movie that were genuinely unsettling.
It really knows how to build tension. That was one of the things I wrote down in my notes, is that it builds tension very effectively, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in the mini spoiler section we do. But what do you think performance-wise? What do you think?
No one's acting stood out to me. However, no one's acting was glaringly bad either.
I agree. It wasn't anything groundbreakingly great, but it was... I think that they all held their own pretty well, aside from the dude who played Adam, who I didn't think was excellent. He was definitely the weak link, if you ask me, of all of them.
The weak link. If I had to choose one, what was the nerdier kid's name?
Kenneth?
Kenneth. Actually, I thought he would...
Whatever.
Yeah, Ken or whatever.
Kenny.
I would say he was the weak link, in my opinion.
Little Kenny... No, he was alright.
Even then, he was okay.
And then none of the performances were glaringly bad. That's what they were all. They were pretty.
The script didn't exactly give them a time to shine either. Though.
I agree with that. And
so
there was not...
saying they weren't phenomenal isn't fair. Just because in this type of movie, through a fucking Skype call, you don't really have the chance to
I agree
really go wholeheartedly.
Out there were, but again, like I said, there's nothing really.
It was
bad
the acting was solid. It was
fine. In terms of plot and everything, it's a little. I was saying beforehand, it was a little it gets a little heavy on the foreshadowing and the exposition at times. It's not it's not a perfect movie. It's not a perfect film. It's not even a great film, but it's good.
Things that super bothered me a lot was the whole wait, how do you play Never Have I Ever? What's a troll?
We'll get to that. But no, there are points early on when the Skype call first starts where there is a lot of there's a lot of very heavy foreshadowing where a character will talk about how, I'll die for you, and then it really hits you hard, and you're like, okay, I know that's gonna happen now, thanks. I'm gonna look at my notes real quick because I'm trying to remember what else I had to say.
people don't talk like that.
Yeah, there are a couple of dialogue-wise. There's a couple of lines that are very. They take you out of it. It's very jarring in the sense that
although largely it wasn't what they were saying. It was when they were showing them typing to each other.
The way they were typing too. Like, because I wrote down the way I think I wrote down was no one talks like that and people don't type like that. There were definitely a lot of points where like
they were using a hyphen when they were typing to one another, but they wouldn't use a capital I when they're writing I'm.
Not even that. There was a girl writes, "Who the F is this person?" I was like, they're writing out EFF, and I was just kind of like, "Oh, okay, that's a strange
I've seen someone do that though. To be fair,
or just capitalizing random words in the sentence.
Yeah,
like,
no.
Who the hell is this guy? Capitalizing this guy and nothing else. It was just there were just weird things like that.
Yeah, it was. Again, I think that goes back to the tech aspect I brought up earlier, though.
Yeah.
Just like I feel like the person who did this in post or whatever didn't have as great a handle on technology and even modern like communications via technology as he probably or he or she or whatever probably should have.
I can agree with that.
But
there's
regardless. I mean, you could look past that.
It has its flaws, like we were just discussing. There's the method of suicide is still laughable.
Really. So one of them was really bad.
the way the girl killed herself a year prior.
Oh yeah, no, that was laughable.
I'll get into that in the spoiler section.
That's not even a spoiler, dude. That's the first 2 minutes.
It's in the trailer too. She holds the gun out in front of her and like points it and just shoots herself.
It's not like it's a rifle. She's holding
a pistol, and it's like just really. I wrote that. I'm like, what if I wrote what a fucking stupid way to kill yourself, Laura. There's it. Conceptually, I think it's brilliant. The idea of having an entire film take place on a computer screen is fantastic.
Really cool. That was really cool. I really was worried it was going to be a gimmick. I was.
I was too. And that's the thing. I was going into it expecting nothing, and I was really surprised with how effective it was. All taking place on a girl's computer screen. I was surprised how effective they made that because they did a lot with something really simple like that. And I love movies that do things like that. Try something new and make it really work effectively.
Yeah, successfully. It was impressive, and you're not going to respect that.
You build a lot. I never realized prior, like you can build a lot of tension being on just someone's computer.
Yeah.
Like the just simply based on the websites that are visited and just the things that you can see happening on the computer that you know shouldn't be happening, that are weird, like things being typed out. And also I liked there were little things like her typing out a message and then deleting it, and so just by doing that, like you're able to see what she's thinking and how her thought process is working. I thought that's really cool.
I did actually. No, I really like that too.
It's a really cool way of just kind of getting inside her head without dialogue. You don't need it.
And the dialogue I felt would have been like too much there. Like if you were to have her saying that type of stuff, I felt like that would have been too much. But as you said, seeing her type it out like that, it really that is something people do. That is a way to get into someone's thought process when they're really
effective.
What they're doing.
And then I also just really wanted to comment out the soundtrack too. See the ghosts choosing the music was really there's a lot of cool little moments where the ghost puts things on through iTunes, and it's a really good soundtrack, and it adds to the humor a bit too.
Oh yeah, no, the Ghost had such a great.
The Ghost has a good sense of humor. So
some of the memes were a little forced, but
how did you feel about it as a horror movie, though? Did you feel
a horror movie? It did very well raising tension. I felt very unsettled during certain scenes.
I agree.
There were certain scenes that definitely flopped.
It wasn't like I said. It's not great, but there's.
But as a whole,
it knew how to build tension really well, really effectively, and that impressed the hell out of me.
Like there's one scene in particular that I want to talk about in the spoiler section, just because that scene was just like,
every time
phenomenal.
the ghost starts like doing the countdown through the Skype messages, it really ramps up the tension. It's really cool. I think that's all really we can talk about in terms of the overall non-spoiler things. So don't talk spoilers if you want to go first.
I do. Val's suicide.
Agreed, wholeheartedly.
That entire scene was just done so well. Oh my god, I felt myself, like I just felt the hairs on my fucking neck.
That was how I reacted in the theater.
That was a really good scene.
There was that scene was really effective, and just the way she's just perfectly still staring at the camera, and you think she's frozen, and the phone starts vibrating across the table. That was awesome. That is one of the most effective things. A lot of that's a really effective thing. In any film where, like in this style, where somebody's staring at something off camera and you have no idea what they're doing, or just anything like that, is really effective. Same thing with Ken's death when he looks behind the lattice thing and he's just staring off in the corner and you don't know what he's staring
the problem with that, I have an issue with that because I feel that if his death was further apart from hers, it would have worked better, but it was like 10 minutes later, and it's like, oh, good, the same thing again.
That's true.
I also hated Ken as a character, so maybe it's
also, his blender was another instance of really bad foreshadowing, like him just having a blender with him for salsa, because, okay.
Yes, I drank salsa out of a blender, because salsa is something you drink.
But yeah, I think it was really, it also worked in the sense that, like, I don't think there were any real characters you could root for, because they were all really shitty people.
I would root for Jess.
She wasn't a hard. She was the least of all of them.
I don't know, but like most of them were really terrible people. So you're not rooting for them to die. However, you're not exactly sad when you see them go.
Exactly. Yeah, it's exactly what he just said. There's no real point where you're rooting for the ghost, I don't think, but there's no real point where you're rooting for any of them to live either.
Which seems like it'd be one of those things that would make it a bad movie, but it worked.
Exactly, it worked really well. I think it's just because in this day and age where we know there are shitty people like that, we kind of want to see them get what they deserve. So
yeah, but at the same time, there's a sense of tension. It wasn't like, oh, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, that's true. Tension was too. The whole. Like I said in the non-spoiler, every single time the ghost starts counting down, the whole Never Have I Ever seen, regardless of the shaky setup for when they're, what's Never Have I Ever, for the 2 audience members who've never played this game, it really, that whole scene is so effective just because of the way that not only how raw the emotions in that scene are, but also the
timer really
amps it up. It just really adds to the tension.
But also, I loved Jess's death.
Yeah,
that was fucking.
I liked how she
gnarly.
was made into a meme.
I don't just think that the meme wasn't funny.
It wasn't funny. There was a great opportunity for a deep throat joke in there. The ghost wasn't bringing her. She didn't bring her A game. There was one more thing I want to talk about, and just that's just the ending as a whole.
Yeah, actually,
it could have ended 30 seconds earlier, and it would have been better because
You've touched on this before, and it's something that I agree with you as a sentiment. I hate
jump scares that
end on a jump scare.
Movies that end on jump scares are bad. Well, they're not bad, but it's a cheap way to end a film. And not to mention, in the context of this film, if you've seen it, you know it makes no sense because the entire film takes place on a computer screen.
And for the last
10 seconds of the ghost closing the computer screen and us being in Blair's bedroom and then the ghost jumping out at her doesn't make sense from the standpoint of the film.
Yeah, it breaks the lore a little bit.
Yeah, it does. It breaks the lore because then all of a sudden you're not on the computer screen anymore. Because by that logic, you weren't looking at the computer. You weren't watching the computer. You were watching the movie through Blair's eyes, which doesn't make sense because when she gets up and walks off camera, you're still on the computer screen.
You know what I think they should have done? What would have been better is just have Blair kill herself and then just end it on her body falling down and have it go into focus, out of focus.
I don't even think she should have killed herself. I think it should have ended with her being kind of exiled from society because of the shit she pulled, and where it just ends with everybody being telling her to kill herself, and that's it. That's how it should have been.
I would have been fine with that.
That would have been a very effective ending.
I just think it was a middle ground between our two.
Yeah, I just don't. Work as well. Even it could have even ended with the hands shutting the laptop. The end. It doesn't need that last stupid jump scare.
Yes.
So that definitely did ruin the movie for me a little bit. There were little things in it here and there that made it that took me out of it, like the sound fading out on Skype when she's on any other screen. But again, I'll play devil's advocate and say, okay, that was the ghost fucking around with the sound on her computer, whatever. But little things like that, her asking what's a troll, it's 2016. Yeah. It was 2015 when that came out, but still
the fact that she didn't have Facebook messages for months at a time.
Oh my god, that was very strange. It's the middle of April, and the last Facebook message she has is from December.
The one before that is November.
Yeah, it's just really she's either has no friends and is just really unpopular, or she is or they just really tried or they just didn't try hard enough to put they didn't put enough effort into her Facebook wall making it look real.
Once again, I'm putting that toward the person who did whatever in post.
I'll put that toward I put that toward more laziness than anything. Yeah. It didn't ruin the film for me. It took me out of it a little bit. It was one of those things that I just sort of noticed and laughed at.
I think that's all we have to say. So, what would you give this movie, Lee? What would you rate it?
I think probably a solid B-.
Actually, I'm actually gonna agree with you. B-.
Yeah, it's because it's not.
I was gonna give it a B until the ending, actually.
Yeah, it's not a perfect film by any means, but it's a fun movie. It's definitely better than most C material that you'll see. It it's a good time. It's not the sort of thing where you're not going to be bored. You're not going to be like...
Yeah, you'll be entertained throughout. It's just, it's
it has some noticeable issues, but it's still a fun time. It's the kind of thing you'd want to just break out at a party or something.
Yeah, something you'd want to watch mindlessly. This isn't like grade A horror.
It's
but
good.
It's
good. Turn your brain
it's
off.
solid.
Fun. Yeah, it's a solid movie. So yeah, that's pretty much our thoughts here. Like, comment, subscribe, give us views, tell your friends.
Please tell your friends.
We need people to watch us.